War shapes history through moments of triumph, sacrifice, and resilience. From the raising of the flag on Iwo Jima to the untold stories of those who served, each image carries a story that defined an era. Join us as we explore these powerful photographs, revealing the courage and humanity that endure even in the face of conflict. February 1944, aboard the USS Arthur Middleton, U.S. Marines. Exhausted from 2 days of fierce combat on Iniwat Kotor, sit together, cups of coffee in hand. In their tired faces, there's a fleeting moment of solace, a brief escape from the chaos of war, shared in silence and camaraderie. 80 years ago, in the cold of Bastogne, Belgium, two exhausted G.'s Adam H. Davis and Milford A. Sillars of the 110th Regiment paused amid the chaos. Their weary faces tell a story of endurance, shared struggle, and the relentless fight for survival during the harsh winter of 1944. In the final months of World War I, Lieutenant Colonel William J. Wild Bill Donovan stood in Hazavant, France. On September 6, 1918, the young officer, hardened by battle, would later carve his name into history as the founding father of the CIA, carrying the lessons of war into a new era of intelligence and strategy. King Kalakaua, the last monarch of Hawaii, stands in his Masonic uniform, symbolizing his efforts to blend Hawaiian tradition with global ties. His reign reflects a heartfelt struggle to preserve his people's culture amidst foreign pressures. Once enemies in Gallipoli, Nanokali, veteran Adil Kahine, and Australian veteran Len Hall stood side by side in 1990, united by shared history. Their meeting turned past conflict into a poignant symbol of reconciliation and enduring humanity. On March 29, 1973, the last U.S. combat troops departed South Vietnam, marking the end of America's direct involvement in the war. On the same day, freed American prisoners of war returned home from Hanoi. During the Civil War, Union soldiers camped along the west bank of the Rappahannock River at Fredericksburg, Virginia, during the Battle of Chancellorsville. This photo captures a brief moment of rest amid the turmoil of one of the war's most intense battles. Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders, one of the most legendary army units, stand together after the Battle of San Juan in 1898. This image captures their camaraderie and the grit that defined their pivotal role in the Spanish-American War. In 1939, Army planes soared over Manhattan, their shadows gliding across the towering skyline. This moment, a blend of military might and urban grandeur, symbolized a nation on the brink of transformation as the world edged closer to war. World War I brought soldiers face to face with the horrors of trench warfare, poison gas, disease, and the constant presence of rats. In 1917, American doughboys charged over the top of a trench in France, embodying courage amid unimaginable hardship. In the thick of World War I, survival often came down to moments of instinct and preparation. In 1918, US soldiers in France, faces hidden behind gas masks, stood ready against the invisible threat of poison gas. On June 6, 1944, the beaches of Normandy bore witness to courage and sacrifice as US Army troops led the charge during the D-Day invasion. Their determination marked a turning point in the fight for freedom in World War II. During World War II, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, made up almost entirely of Japanese-American volunteers, proved their loyalty and courage on the battlefield. Their unparalleled bravery earned them the distinction of being the most decorated unit in U.S. Army history. In the Pacific Theater, Army infantrymen advanced side by side with Marines, pushing through intense battles against Japan. In the Solomon Islands, soldiers moved forward alongside an M4 Sherman tank, embodying teamwork and resilience in the face of fierce resistance. In 1948, President Harry Truman took a historic step by desegregating the Army, paving the way for equality in the armed forces. Just 2 years later, the Korean War became the first major conflict where integrated units fought side by side, marking a significant milestone in American history. Amid the Vietnam War, U.S. Army helicopters became lifelines, swiftly transporting soldiers into combat zones. In this image, helicopters descend, dropping off troops during an offensive against the Viet Cong, testament to adaptability and the critical role of rotary wing aircraft in modern warfare. U.S. Army self-propelled 155mm howitzers from the 7th Corps moved steadily toward the Kuwaiti border, their mission clear: to liberate Kuwait from Iraqi occupation. This image captures the determination and power of a force poised to restore freedom. In October 1862, President Abraham Lincoln visited General George B. McClellan at Antietam, days after one of the bloodiest battles in American history. Standing among Union leaders, Lincoln's presence symbolized resolve and the immense burden of guiding a nation through its darkest hour. The photograph captures a tense moment during the Mexican border war. American soldiers, rifles at the ready, stand vigilant along the arid Texas-Mexican border. Dust rises in the background as their expedition into northern Mexico unfolds, embodying the determination and uncertainty of this volatile conflict. In the early 20th century, U.S. forces occupied Nicaragua to secure strategic interests, including preventing foreign powers from building a transoceanic canal. In 1934, the U.S. occupation of Haiti came to an end after nearly 2 decades. Initially justified as a stabilization effort following political turmoil, the occupation was deeply tied to American business interests seeking control over Haitian finances and resources. In 1918, a solemn service was held in Hoboken, New Jersey, to honor American soldiers who had fallen on the battlefields of France. The rows of caskets, draped in flags, reflected the immense loss of over 100,000 lives, a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made during World War I. Families and communities gathered in grief, united in remembrance of those who gave everything for their country. In Washington, D.C., November 8, 1918, jubilant crowds celebrated as newspaper headlines announced Germany's surrender. Marking the end of World War I, the streets buzzed with relief and hope as Americans reflected on the sacrifices of over 1 million troops sent to Europe, now envisioning a long-awaited peace. In 1919, the USS Agamemnon arrived in Hoboken, New Jersey, its deck packed with soldiers cheering as they returned from the battlefields of France. Their faces radiated relief and joy, a poignant contrast to the hardships they endured. Among the 4.5 million Americans who served, these soldiers now looked forward to reuniting with loved ones and rebuilding their lives after the war. On December 7, 1941, chaos erupted at Pearl Harbor as the USS Shore exploded in a fiery blast. During Japan's surprise attack, the assault devastated the American Pacific Fleet and marked a turning point, drawing the United States into World War II as Germany and Italy soon declared war. The image of the explosion stands as a vivid reminder of the day that changed history forever. In 1942, at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the 41st Corps of Engineers, an all-African-American battalion, stood proudly in formation, holding the American flag. Though they served with honor during World War II, these soldiers fought in segregated units, a stark reminder of the racial inequality of the era. It wasn't until 1948 that the US military took the monumental step of desegregation, acknowledging their equal contributions to the nation's defense. An English army doctor carefully tends to a prisoner, removing lice from her body, a small but profound act of care amidst the harsh conditions of captivity. This quiet moment reflects the humanity that persists even in the darkest of times. Amid the hardships of war, moments of levity shone through. Soldiers and prisoners alike found ways to laugh and play, brief escapes from the harsh realities surrounding them. These fleeting joys were reminders of their shared humanity. Circa 1940 SC aboard the USS Intrepid off Luzon, US Navy sailors stood in solemn formation, honoring fallen shipmates with a burial at sea. The ocean became their final resting place, a poignant tribute amidst the vast sacrifices of World War II, where the Navy alone lost over 100,000 lives. In 1945, Major Charity Adams stood before the 688, the first group of black women in the Women's Army Corps deployed to Europe. Tasked with organizing a massive backlog of mail for troops, they defied expectations, creating the most efficient mail service in wartime Europe. Their success was a testament to their determination and excellence, breaking barriers amidst the challenges of war. These images remind us of the sacrifices made and the lessons learned through history's darkest and most triumphant moments. Let them inspire us to strive for a future of understanding, resilience, and lasting peace. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that bring history to life.